So what happens to co-debtors when someone files for bankruptcy? Are they protected? Watch our video and find out. So this is a question that we get a lot when folks come in to file bankruptcy, because they need to file bankruptcy, but they don't want to harm a co-debtor on one of their accounts, which of course we understand that. So what happens? Well, when you file for bankruptcy, you not only have the automatic stay apply to yourself, but you're going to have something called the co-debtor stay that will apply to your co-debtors. Now, this stay doesn't apply to a co-debtor that is a business, and it doesn't apply to a debt that is a business debt or non-consumer debt. And one thing to keep in mind is, remember, taxes are considered non-consumer debts. So if you file for bankruptcy, and even if you are restructuring your tax debt in a Chapter 13, if your spouse doesn't file with you, they could still be contacted by the taxing authorities in regards to that debt, because that's considered non-consumer. It really just depends on what district you live in or whatnot, but at least here in the Northern District of Georgia, that's what we see. In that case, we always tell clients, if they're not going to file together and there's tax debt, the other person needs to set up some kind of a small repayment plan, at least with the taxing authority, to keep them off their back, even though you can restructure through your plan. So it's something you want to make sure you talk with your attorney. But in regards to all other debts, when you file for bankruptcy, it is going to apply the co-debtor stay. Now, again, it's only temporarily. So, for instance, if you file a Chapter 7 bankruptcy, but you have a cosigner on your vehicle, even though while you're in the bankruptcy, if you decided you're going to let the car go, you're not going to pay for it, it would temporarily stop them from collecting against the co-debtor. But when you come out of the bankruptcy, they're going to go after the co-debtor for that amount, because the stay will be gone. You need to make sure you understand, just because you're getting rid of your debt, it's not going to protect the other person. And once that co-debtor stay goes away, if the debt has not been paid, then they can go after that person. Now, most of the time, the way this comes up is someone files a Chapter 13 bankruptcy, and there's a car. This is usually where I'll see a lot of attorneys make mistakes. There's a car and there's a co-debtor, but the attorney crams down interest rate on a vehicle, but there's a co-debtor. So the person goes through their whole bankruptcy and they think everything is fine because of the co-debtor stay. They're not contacting the co-debtor. But then when they get out, they don't get the title, and the company is going after the co-debtor for that balance that was crammed down. So remember, if you are thinking about trying to cram down a vehicle or any other kind of asset in a bankruptcy, if your co-debtor isn't filing as well, or if they've not discharged their debt in another bankruptcy, then it's not going to work. So just keep that in mind. But back to the co-debtor stay, yes, when you file a bankruptcy, it will protect the co-debtor, at least momentarily, from collections. But if the debt is not repaid, eventually the creditor will be able to go after the co-debtor. If you have any other questions about the stay, co-debtor stay, or filing bankruptcy in general, feel free to contact us. Our information is below.